Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We are in week 31. We are going to be reading chapters 2 and 3 of The Hunger Games this week. Somebody last week asked, are we allowed to read ahead? Of course, always. But make sure you might need to reread to answer the questions appropriately or participate in discussion. And you know it's always good to read something more than once. You always get new, interesting stuff out of it. And two, please don't spoil things for other people who haven't read ahead yet. Um, so this week, today and tomorrow, we're focusing on chapter 2. What are we working on? Our goal is to understand, what does Katniss's sacrifice for her sister illustrate or show us about her character? And why is this act surprising or not surprising to you? So, as always, you can click this link to open up the document. And again, if you would like to download that document, you can figure out ways to annotate on the PDF, like I've been doing, where I will highlight pieces of it because it helps me remember the things that I want to pay attention to and talk about, especially in answer to the EQ. And if you would like, you may listen to the audiobook, or there is a YouTube link here for the same teacher that read us Tangerine. Um, as you work on this, you'll open up our document and you'll notice there is one new thing this week. So instead of doing a warm up quick write that is just about our reading this week, I've given you 3 different prompts. You guys know that in Wednesday writing in class, we always had some options of what to write about. You can always write about anything you'd like, but we aren't always going to be doing that on Wednesdays. The reason is sometimes it just works better on the Monday. This week, our work with chapter 3 is a little bit more consuming than the work with chapter 2. And so I'm giving you the writing today. You have 3 choices to answer. One of them is a picture. I'll always give you some interesting picture to respond about. You could write a story, a poem, write like a mini article as if you're a reporter. You could write a text to self connection, which is, imagine that your sibling, friend, or loved one was selected in the reaping to participate in the Hunger Games. How would you feel? Would you be relieved that it wasn't you? Would you feel confident in them and their success? Consider both your emotional and physical reactions and then write in first person perspective as if it's actually happening. Like, oh my gosh, I just saw so and so's name get called. And then a random prompt, if you're feeling this, is, what is something you dislike about yourself? And then explain kind of why you feel that way and how that has affected your life. When you are done with this, you would make my life and your future life much easier by deleting the prompt row. That just makes your document much easier to read so that your response will end up being right above the questions you answer about the book. So, how do you actually delete this row? I've given you very specific directions here, but I will model them right now so that you know what I'm talking about. You're going to click anywhere within this second row, and to right click on your trackpad, if you don't have a mouse, you use 2 fingers to tap. So I tap, and this is the menu. You're going to click delete row. If you just use the delete button, it'll only delete part of the text. So try to delete the entire row. After that, you're going to read chapter 2. And you're going to answer 4 questions. So not too much, not a difficult day. How does Katniss save her sister? A little bit of a spoiler, sorry. What does Katniss's sacrifice say about her character and why? Or how do you know that that's what it says? And then, is this act surprising or unsurprising? And explain, why do you think it was surprising to you? Or why did it make so much sense? And then lastly, describe Katniss's only previous interaction with Peeta. What happened and how does Katniss feel about it? Fun fact, Peeta's parents are bakers. Did you guys know that Peeta, spelled Pita, is a kind of bread? And lastly, please write down in this very last box any questions that you have. You may have noticed that if you didn't ask your question in the Zoom meeting, but you put it there, I did answer it for you to the best of my ability in your actual comments. And then lastly, we have our Zoom meeting tomorrow. The link is in your document. It's here. This is clickable, but it's also at the bottom of your document right here. It's from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. tomorrow. And if you would like to participate, you have to put your first and last name as you enter the room. If I don't recognize you, I'm not going to let you in because I can't risk having random people in our meetings. The last thing that I've put in our document or in our directions, as I did last week, is just some fun. Let me move my face a little bit out of the way here. So these are random things. I'm always going to give you some sort of epidemic history because I think it's relevant and I find it fascinating. So if you think disease science is interesting, this is a really interesting video I watched today. It's 11 minutes, so it's kind of long, but it is really fascinating. And of course, everybody loves Velociraptor. I also learned today that high-heeled shoes were originally created for men. This is a clickable link if you'd like to read some more. Very interesting. Much of it was for making their shoes sturdier, like steadier in riding stirrups on horses, and also to make them seem taller and therefore more intimidating. Fun fact. The last thing I'll ask you guys to remember is to actually turn in your work from last week. In each class period, I've had sort of a variety of, I have not everybody has turned it in. In my 7th period, they are the highest turning in class percentage. Great job, guys. But we're still missing some people. I'm just not reading them unless you click turn in. And I know a lot of us have forgotten that. So don't worry about it being late. Just click turn in so that I know you actually did it. If you have any questions or if you need anything at all, please email me or add a comment on the assignment this week. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow during our Zoom meeting. Have a great day.